The moment the call ended, I stood frozen in my living room, phone clenched tight in my hand. My daughter's voice, shaky, terrified, rang in my ears. "Dad, please save me." It wasn't just a request. It was a cry from the edge of something dark. And just like that, the call cut out. Whatever pain I thought I had endured before, whatever heartbreak came from Emily's betrayal, this was worse. Infinitely worse. But to understand what that moment meant, you need to know what came before. I had once believed in our family, believed that love and loyalty could hold us together. 12 years married to Emily. 12 years of compromise, dedication, and sacrifice. I did everything to be the partner she said she needed. I supported her late nights in corporate sales, cooked for her, rubbed her aching feet after long shifts, and celebrated every promotion like it was my own victory. Meanwhile, I stayed home, built my freelance graphic design business from scratch so I could be there for our daughter, Maya. She was almost 10, my whole world wrapped in a small body with a giant heart. I'd planned a life around making sure she never felt alone. Then it all unraveled on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Emily was already sitting at the dining table when I walked in. A sealed manila folder sat in front of her like a loaded gun. She didn't look up, just pushed it toward me with a flat, cold "Sign it." Divorce papers. My hands trembled as I opened them. "What is this?" I asked, my voice hollow. She met my eyes without a flicker of emotion. "I'm done pretending. You're not enough, Daniel. You never were. And Maya doesn't need a failure for a father." Those words shattered something deep inside me. I stumbled back like she'd physically struck me. "Where is this coming from?" I whispered. "What happened to us?" "I grew up," she said simply. "You didn't. I'm with someone now. Someone who makes me feel alive. You? You're just a housemaid with a laptop." She walked out the next day, took Maya with her, moved in with the man she left me for, Jacob. Told the court I was unstable, erratic. Claimed I was emotionally abusive. She painted a picture so distorted it barely resembled me, and the judge granted her full temporary custody. I didn't see Maya for weeks, until that call. "Dad, please save me." I called her back once, twice, 5 times. The line went straight to voicemail. Panic lit every nerve in my body. I don't remember grabbing my hoodie or my keys. Don't even remember tying my shoes. I only remember the road, the wet blur of headlights, the sound of my own heartbeat. I had no idea where they lived now. Emily had blocked me completely, changed Maya's school, made sure no one could trace her, especially not me. The courts told me to wait for my next hearing. But I wasn't waiting. I drove straight to the only person who might tell me the truth, her sister, Vanessa. She answered the door, startled. "Daniel? What are you?" Maya called me. She sounded terrified. "I need to know where she is." Her expression shifted. Suspicion, concern, then guilt. "She's with Emily at Jacob's house," she murmured. "Last time I visited, something felt off. Emily's always distracted. Jacob, he's got a temper." "Where?" I asked. She hesitated, then grabbed a sticky note, scribbled down an address, and shoved it into my hand. "I didn't tell you anything," she whispered before closing the door. The neighborhood was tucked away, quiet, wrapped in tall trees and dead cell zones. Jacob's house sat cold and oversized, like a showroom with no soul. I parked 2 blocks away and walked the rest through the pouring rain. Then I saw it, Maya's favorite stuffed giraffe, abandoned in the driveway, soaked through. That's when the fear turned real. I crept up the side of the house. Through the window I caught flashes, dim light, shouting, movement. A loud crash, shattering glass. My stomach twisted. I pulled out my phone, dialed 911. "My name is Daniel Harris. There's a child in danger. Domestic incident. 470 Meadow Creek Drive." I didn't wait. I ran to the front door and kicked it open. The noise echoed like thunder. "Maya!" Silence. Then a muffled sob from upstairs. I bolted 2 steps at a time, lungs burning. I saw a shadow vanish into the last room down the hall. I threw the door open. She was there, curled on the bed, eyes wide, tears pouring. Her arms clutched around her legs like she was trying to disappear. "Daddy!" Behind her stood Jacob, shirtless, drunk, belt in hand. His breath stank of whiskey, his face twisted with anger. "You're trespassing," he growled. "Leave, now, or I call the cops." "I already did," I said, stepping toward him. He lifted the belt slightly, like a threat. That was his mistake. I didn't think. I moved. In a blur, I slammed him against the wall, my forearm pressing into his throat. "If you ever touch her again, I swear," he spat. "You think she's still yours?" "Emily." I didn't let him finish. One punch, straight to the nose. He dropped, groaning, blood pooling under his face. I turned to Maya. She was shaking, but when I opened my arms, she ran into them without hesitation. I held her like I'd never let go again. The sirens grew louder. When the police arrived, I was calm. I gave them the voicemail, showed them the bruises on Maya's arms, old and new, pointed to the belt. Jacob was still mumbling curses as they cuffed him and dragged him out. One of the officers, older, steady, looked at me and said, "You did right, Dad. You protected her." But I knew this was only the beginning, because while I had my daughter in my arms, I still had a war to fight to keep her safe. They say life can turn in an instant, and mine did the day I realized my fight wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about something far more important: keeping my daughter safe and proving to the world what kind of mother Emily truly was. I had a mission now, and I wasn't going to fail. 3 weeks later, we stood in court for the custody hearing. By then, Jacob had been arrested and charged with child endangerment and assault. The bruises on Maya's arms and back told the story no one wanted to hear, but no one could ignore. The judge denied him bail without hesitation. Emily? She was unraveling. Her online profiles had all gone dark. Her job quietly moved her to a less public role once the news got out. And now she stood before me, dressed like she was playing the part of a saint. Navy blazer, curled hair, and even a rosary clutched in her hand like she was auditioning for sympathy. But I didn't waver. I came armed with the truth. I had proof from a private investigator who tracked Emily's nights out, leaving Maya home alone. I had a log of nursing shifts she claimed to work, except the hospital confirmed she hadn't been employed for months. A neighbor testified about hearing Maya cry outside at 2 a.m. A teacher noted the signs: fatigue, unwashed clothes, slipping grades. And finally, there was a USB drive. On it, clear footage of Jacob's arrest, violent, undeniable. Emily's lawyer tried to object, claiming she had no idea what Jacob was capable of. I stood up, calm but firm. "Your Honor, when a mother invites danger into her home and abandons her child to it, that's not ignorance. That's neglect." The judge took a brief recess to view the footage. When he returned, his words were swift and final. Full custody awarded to me. Emily would only be allowed supervised visits after completing a 6-month psychiatric evaluation. His gavel struck, and it was over. She didn't cry. She glared at me with a look that could burn holes through stone. She mouthed something, "You'll pay for this." But I didn't care. I took Maya's small hand and walked out of that courtroom without looking back. Outside, she looked up at me and asked, "Does this mean I get to stay with you forever?" I knelt and smiled. "No, kiddo. It means I finally get to keep you safe. Always." 2 months later, our lives were slowly finding rhythm again. Our home wasn't fancy, but it was filled with warmth and quiet. That first night, Maya refused to sleep alone, curling up next to me with a unicorn nightlight glowing on the nightstand. Every night after, she stayed close until one evening she said, "I think I'm brave enough for my own room now, Daddy." That was the first time I truly cried, not from pain but healing. Emily never contacted us again. Her lawyer filed a half-hearted motion for visitation, but quickly pulled it back after her psych evaluation flagged signs of narcissism and emotional instability. She lost her job. Her relationship with Jacob was over. He took a plea and was now serving 2 years in prison. Last I heard, she'd moved back in with her mother, who blamed me for everything. Let them. Maya was safe. And me? I was finally free. One evening while I made dinner, Maya was scribbling away with her crayons. "Daddy," she called, holding up her drawing. It was two stick figures, one tall, one small, holding hands beneath the sun. Above them, in bright bold letters, "My hero." My throat tightened. I walked over, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "You saved me too. If you've ever been torn apart by someone you trusted, if your love was taken and twisted, don't ever think you were weak. You were brave enough to care, loyal enough to try, and kind enough to believe. They may have left you broken, but that's not the end of your story. Because people like us, we rise, we rebuild, and we love again, stronger than before. So if you're still standing, even with the scars, then you've already won. And your next chapter might just be the one that changes everything."